What up, reader fam? Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on WAPA! Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I'm working with Penguin Random House on this video, and they were nice enough to send me a copy of this book, so thanks Penguin Random House, you the best! If you've been watching this channel for a while now, then you know that I am a massive fan of We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and I'm going to try my best to restrain myself throughout this video from comparing these two books, because I felt like at times while I was reading Genuine Fraud, I was just comparing it to We Were Liars, and I had to be like, brain, stop it now! Focus on the story before you forget We Were Liars for a little bit. These are two completely different stories, and it's really unfair to compare them. While Genuine Fraud is completely different than We Were Liars, something that they do have in common is their mysterious descriptions. I kind of went into Genuine Fraud thinking I was getting the story about these two girls, and it would just have a focus on their friendship. Now, there are two girls in the story, and there is a bit of a focus on their friendship, but there's a lot more complicated things to it. When I recommend We Were Liars to people, I always recommend going into it not knowing much about the story, if anything. And I feel that same way about Genuine Fraud. I think it's best to kind of just go into it not knowing anything. But I am going to describe to you what this book is about in a very simple way, and a way that won't give away anything. At the very beginning of the story, we are introduced to this girl by the name of Jules, and right off the bat, we can tell that she is on the run from something. We see her reinventing herself by disguise and by changing her name. She becomes very suspicious of somebody that she comes in contact with and just bolts for it. And from that point in the story, we dive back into the past, and then we kind of work our way back into the present day. I would consider this book to be a mystery thriller. Before I get deeper into my thoughts, I do want to point out the fact that there is a trigger warning for suicide with this book. That's something that's mentioned quite a bit throughout this story, so make note of that before picking up this book. I really liked the writing style in this book, and I know that I said I wasn't going to compare this book to We Were Liars throughout this video, but I just want to point out that the style of writing is completely different than We Were Liars. This story is kind of more straight to the point, and it's just very blunt in its delivery, and I feel like We Were Liars was definitely more of the flowery, poetic style of writing, which is normally what I prefer. I really like that kind of poetic style, but I feel like the style of writing in Genuine Fraud really worked for the story. What I found that E. Lockhart did a great job of in Genuine Fraud was building suspense. It's kind of like she's building a fire with this book. She sets out the wood, she gets it prepared, and then she just lights that match and just sets it to flame. E. Lockhart is just fantastic when it comes to shock delivery. It's like, whoop-ah, shock, kapow, more shock, pow-pow, shock, shock. And I kind of say this with more of what's happening, like the things that the characters do, it's just like, whoa, that's really shocking, that's really dark, that's really messed up. And on the other hand, I did kind of find the main specific reveal to be a little bit predictable. It's just the things that were occurring were a little bit shocking, if that makes sense at all. Just because I predicted that one thing doesn't mean it wasn't shocking. There were many a times in this book where I was shook. I feel like I will always be mentally preparing myself for E. Lockhart's books now, because I know that they're always gonna have me on the edge of my dang seat. One of these days they're gonna have me falling off my seat and face planting into the floor. Now, while I did enjoy this book, there were a few things that I didn't necessarily love. One being that the story did feel a bit convoluted at times, because we jump forward, we jump backwards, and that definitely made things cloudy at times, which I honestly believe that this is something that E. Lockhart was doing on purpose because it did make the overall story super mysterious. But for me, it was just part of the storytelling that I didn't necessarily love. I needed more of a warning when it came to the time shifts, and I just wasn't given warnings sometimes. Also, there were things that happened throughout the book that didn't seem very realistic to the story, and I'm not even sure how to put this without spoiling anything. It's like we have this main situation that our main character is involved in, and there were just things that happened that made her situation unbelievable. If you've read this book, I feel like you might be catching on to what I'm saying here. But you just gotta suspend your disbelief and just ride the ride and go with it. Cause that's what I did, and I still enjoyed it. I'm gonna briefly touch on the main character. I'm not gonna say much because you can't say much without spoiling everything, but I was a massive fan of our unreliable main character. Because she's so unreliable, you just have no idea where her story's gonna go and where she's going to end up, and that's something that I loved about this story. So those are all my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. You guys should let me know down below in the comments if you have picked this book up and read it and what you thought about it, or let me know down below if you haven't read it but if you are planning to pick it up, because I'd love to hear from you guys. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.